संपला नाही का गिरदेगा तो सही.
Welcome to the webinar. Please stand by. The webinar will begin shortly. Please remain on the line. The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
In last class, we are talking about let's write. Next, we need to talk about notebooks, and then from the next class, we need to do integration of the data lake and other things. Done with your practice, everyone? Done or still doing? Let me know, please. I'll wait. Yes, sir. Yes, others, let me know. Yes, sir. Yes. Yes, others, let me know, please. Done with your practice or still doing? Let me know, please. I'll wait. And I think I gave some concept-wise FAQs, right? Did you get a chance to work on them? I'm still working on it, sir. I'll send you by tomorrow. Sure. Yeah, maybe before tomorrow's class, everyone, please, will you try? Yes. Before tomorrow's class. Yes, others, let me know. Please complete all your FAQs before tomorrow's class. Please do that. Yes, sir. Sure. Yeah. Let's get started now. Let's understand the concept of Synapse Analytics notebooks. Earlier we have Synapse Analytics scripts. Next we have the concept of Synapse Analytics pipeline. Now let's see concept of notebooks. Let's start. A simple concept. Just take a screenshot. Well, let's get started now. Let's understand notebook. Before that, one small important thing. Unlike regular SQL server, for Azure Data Factory and Azure Synapse, we need to always depend on Azure AD, Azure Active Directory for security. Either you go for the Synapse Analytics or Data Factory, either of them, or both of them, we need to always depend on the security activities with something called AD, Azure AD, Azure Active Directory. Let's understand what it is. Let's understand the security part first, then we go for notebooks. Two pending items. Go home. Click on go home. Next. You see something called Azure Active Directory, this one. Because from next class we need to have the integration activity, so it should be easier for us to follow. Go to Azure Active Directory. Left side you see something called users. Click on new user. As a data engineer, we are responsible to ensure secure access to the resources. Existing users would be granted permission for various roles on data factory resource and Synapse analytic resource. Let's create a user. I'll call it as, for example, ETL user 1. Call it as ETL user 1. Give ETL user 1. Password. Give the password here. Auto generate password. And click create. The username is ETL user 1. Like next. Go home. Either you go for the data factory resource or Synapse analytic resource. Click on the resource. Click on the resource. Go to left side IAM, Identity and Access Management. Go to IAM, Identity and Access Management. Okay, next. Once you have the Identity and Access Management, okay, next. Left side you see check access, role assignment. Leftmost tab, check access, then role assignment. By default, you don't see any permissions by default. You would like to add new role assignment. Then what we do is go to the check access, add role assignment. This one. Click on add role assignment. Click on add role assignment. Okay, next. Owner. Members of this role can perform any operation. Contribute. Members of this role can perform read-write permissions. same way, reader. Members of the rotation are only read active, like monitoring metrics, right? Previous class. Mostly we go for contributor permissions to users. Click on member. I selected contributor row from member. Select member. Username, the ETL user, and select. So what we did, we created a user is granted with some permission. The contributor with read write permission. To whom? To that particular previously created user. And review plus assign. Next. What we are doing here? We are providing security for a particular resource. Same is a data factory or Synapse works the same concept. Now let's go to the workspace. Click on Synapse Studio. As usual, I'll click on Synapse. Back to our notes in the meantime. You're writing your running. How to secure? Home page, Azure Active Directory users, add user. Specify username, password. Review plus create. Then step 2. From Azure portal. All resources. Data factory or Synapse Analytics resource. I'm showing you for Synapse Analytics. I request you to practice Data Factory also. Same concept. Go to IAM. Left side, you see IAM page. Okay. Then click on Add Role Assignment. Select required role. Owner. Any operation. No exception. Contributor. Any except providing permissions to others. If you give me contributor permissions, I cannot give permissions to others, but I can operate on the resource. I can do any operation on the resource, like creating pipelines, creating scripts, creating notebooks, etc. Reader, monitoring operations and logging operations. There is something called Data Factory Contributor. ETL pipeline creation, linked services, not servers, is services. And IR setup, only configurational changes and pipeline creation. No monitoring activities are possible. This Data Factory control. There is nothing called Synapse contributor, nothing like that. Okay, next. Okay, so here we go. Our requirement. What next? Select the required role, then add members. Browse for the member from step 1, assign. No option to secure individual pipelines. and we cannot restrict the user to a specific linked service or data set. We cannot give any configuration security settings like this user should be restricted to this particular linked service or a data set. No option as such as of now. It's a complete resource level we have permission. Let's see how to work with Synapse notebooks, or simply say notebooks in Synapse. Well, mostly we go for data factory, but good to know about this Synapse also. Here it is. Notebooks are programming interfaces. Notebooks are the programming interface for data extraction, data validation, transformation, and data load. We can create notebooks in Synapse Studio using number 1, Spark SQL, number 2, Python, number 3, .NET, and number 4, R. And very recently, Java is in the list. Let's understand now how to work with these notebooks. Very important. To work with Spark and Python notebooks, we need to create something called a Spark pool. Remember, earlier classes we have something called dedicated SQL pools. Do you remember that?
Yes, sir.
Dedicated SQL pools.
Yes, sir.
Similar to that, we have something called as Spark pools. Okay, so here it is. Our requirement. The Spark pool is like a server. We create databases inside the Spark pool. We create databases inside the Spark. Let's see. These Spark databases where inside the Spark pool can be used as a stage to perform transformation. Spark databases are not for the regular storage, mainly for transformation. Example. Let's take a small example here. Assume you have one dedicated SQL pool. Assume, for example, let's assume you have one dedicated SQL pool. data, with some data. We can load this data into Spark SQL pool or simply say Spark pool. Perform aggregation transformation. Okay, and then finally load the aggregated data into the dedicated SQL pool. When working with huge volumes of data, we do this activity. Okay. With this information, what we are learning now, we are understanding how to work with notebook concept. You have one dedicated SQL pool with some data. You would like to load the data into Spark pool, perform aggregation, load it back to SQL. Let's see how it is. Go to Synapse environment. Go to Synapse Studio. We had one dedicated SQL pool. If you remember the older classes, you have the dedicated SQL pool.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Now we would like to have a Spark pool also. Left side, you go to Apache Spark. This one, click on plus new and simple, straight concept. Apache Spark live. Earlier dedicated SQL pool, okay. Now Apache Spark pool. And what is missing here? Come on, please elevate. What is missing? General purpose. Exactly, general purpose. They are only memory optimized. Just leave the remaining as it is. Click create. Just click create. You get one Apache Spark. Okay, and then here we have dedicated SQL. Let's understand how to communicate between these two. Left side develop. See here. Click on develop. Once we click on develop plus SQL script. Hope you remember this older classes. So take SQL. Let's have a small table first. We are right now preparing the data. This one. Now, dedicated SQL pool. Let's have some data. So for this purpose, come on, what we need to do? We need to connect to the dedicated SQL pool, right? You remember that?
Yes, sir.
We need to connect the dedicated SQL pool. So how connect option is there? Built in, we need to have the dedicated SQL pool down. It's already deployed, take some time. Let's get the dedicated SQL pool deployed. Then what we need to do? We need to create a table. Remember, it's a script. Okay, we are doing a script. Let's wait for a few moments. In the meantime, I'll get ready with the script. And we'll test one aggregation query also. This is a script from our earlier classes, and we are going to have one. That's right. Going to have one aggregation query also. This one. We are going to test the aggregation query. Actual aggregation will perform it Spark or Apache Spark 4. We'll do it. Let's wait for the deployment to complete. Once it is complete, then we'll create. Let's wait. Let's wait for a few moments. Well, in the meantime, I'll copy the script. This would be the complete script. But notebook, okay, I'll say Synapse SQL script. Okay, this one. You'll get this Synapse SQL script. And I was mentioning about getting the data to Spark SQL, create Spark SQL database, right? For that also, let's get the script ready. Yes, so here it is. Let's get the source database ready. Then we are going to create a table. We did this already earlier classes. We are going to recreate the table. Read the table in Spark environment. This is the notebook. Create a Spark database and save as table. This output of input, this dedicated SQL pool trip table output is given to data frame. Data frame dot save as table. It's automatically results in a new table. Let's wait for a few moments. Let's go one by one. So before we proceed for this script, notebook script, first let's have table. I'll copy the entire table, trip table. If you remember 3 weeks back, remember this trip table 3 weeks back, we learned it from Management Studio. So select only this script and run. Trip table ready. Small example. Observe here. Query executed successfully. 10 comes. A small example from 3 weeks back. So you are creating in dedicated SQL. Yeah. It's a source, right? Source. Yeah, that is dedicated. Exactly. Next. We are creating the source table. Then we are going to access the source table in Apache Spark. Okay. No linked services, no other items, no data sets, no pipelines. Everything through Node. For aggregations will do. This is one query, sample query. Okay, just to verify a query. Now let's understand. For faster transformation, go to notebook. See here. on notebook. It will take you to the Apache Spark pool. Select the Apache Spark pool we created few minutes back. SQL script should be from dedicated SQL pool. Notebooks, Apache Spark. Then next, if you are using free account, you may not see Java, but .NET you always Java is only for the paid account. As on not started, session is not started. It will start once you pick Rust. Before that, here it is. Observe carefully. We are right now in the language of Python Spark. When to go for PySpark, when to go for Spark. Simple. For any kind of read and write, Spark SQL. Any kind of read and write, Spark SQL. Any kind of aggregations, you go for PySpark. Aggregations, transformations, data processing, PySpark. Reading the data from the source, writing it to the destination, Spark. Here we are right now in PySpark environment, and we are reading the content. For reading the content, we require Spark SQL. So it should be in this way. We call it as percentile Spark. That is Spark SQL. Back to my notes. First Spark, last Spark, read and write. In between transformations, PySpark. Observe carefully. Here you go. Back to our notes. Used to read or write data to and fro. Apache Spark pool. This is actually called Spark SQL. And now PySpark. Used to aggregations. Used to perform aggregations and data processing activity. Percentile. What is used for a notebook cell to run in a specific platform. Example. Percentile Spark sources. A PySpark notebook cell to run in Spark SQL mode. What does it mean? Let me show you. Spark SQL read and write. PySpark aggregation. Percentile means to force a cell to run in a particular programming environment. We are right now in PySpark, but this is not a PySpark one. Spark SQL. Here it is. Used for read and write. This is the correct dedicated SQL pool name and the trip table here. This one. See this. read SQL pool dot dpivot dot trip spark.sql and save as. Then next, once we have this information ready, once your table is ready, what is a table? Strip new table. Strip new table, we can directly specify the aggregation. Before that, we can verify this strip new table. See here. Now percentile not required. This is a PySpark code. The PySpark code. Already PySpark. How do we know? Remember the function display. This one, display of df. df means data frame, a table-like structure. Now, what exactly we need to do? We need to do transformation on this strip new table and derive a new table. This is the original table content. Strip new of taxi, database, strip new table. Strip table at the source, strip new table in Spark. What we need to do? Here we go. This is data frame 1, just to verify that. Now we tested one aggregation query earlier, right? This entire aggregation query is sent to the node. Entire aggregation query is sent to node. The output of this aggregation query is sent to data frame to another temporary table. Displaying is optional. We can directly say df2 data frame name dot data frame name can be anything dot write dot save as table. Earlier, just data frame dot save as table. Now data frame dot write dot save as table. Both are same. Remember, both are directly save as table or data frame dot write dot save as. Either of them, both of them. You are saving it to new table where the new of taxi database inside Spark. Finally, what we need to do? We need to write this data frame to output this strip new aggregation table. The strip new aggregation table. We need to write it. We need to write it to the destination. Where is destination? It is dedicated SQL. This. Remember, for reading Spark.sql or Spark.read.sql and writing write.sql. For reading and writing, you require Spark SQL. Earlier, data frame 2 is ready. From data frame 2, you got strip new aggregation table. From strip new aggregation table, you assign value to data frame 3. Data frame 3 dot write dot stl. Target database schema, and this will be the new table. Strip target aggregation. Back to our node. Observe that. This is completely optional. df1 and df2 are completely optional assignments. For easy understanding, firstly read the content. verify. Display is like select. Spark SQL will say select statement. Python mixed with Spark, we call PySpark. There it is display. Please by heart the ETL statement. Carefully. First, we are actually reading the data. We are reading the data from dedicated SQL. Then loading it as a new table to Spark. Next, verify, aggregate. Finally, the aggregated data is sent back to dedicated SQL. I'll wait for some time. Please observe carefully. How to execute? Yes, you go back to notebook, select each cell and run. Select first cell. Very first time you run the cell, it would take few minutes, generally about 3 to 5 minutes to start the Spark cluster. This Apache Spark pool internally runs in a cluster environment. So you may run all or run each one at a time. It would take some time to start the cluster. In the meantime, here it is. Extract, transform, load. It is actually, truly speaking, a LUT process. We call it as LUT process because we are loading the data from data source to Spark SQL first. Then do the transformation. Finally, load it back to appropriate destination. Now, when to go for notebooks? Ideally, it's always pipelines preferred. If in case the target customers or the client projects involve data science or additional development activities, they prefer PySpark instead of drag and drop pipeline. Few times you may see PySpark or even .NET or Java involved in regular transformation. Then we use this interrupt. Very important. Performance-wise, pipeline wins. Reason. In notebooks, we don't see any such concept called polybase or controlling the degree of parallelism, copy parallelism. No concept of partitions or broadcast options. Remember, previously we got those optimization techniques listed. Broadcast option, partitions, distribution. Such control is not available here in notebooks. If you are planning for DP 203 examination, PySpark is mentioned once, Spark SQL 3 times in your entire certification category. Mean to say focus more on the pipelines, linked services, data sets. One more thing, using these notebooks, we cannot access non-Azure data sources. I mean, the self-hosted IR is there, right, in pipeline. It's not possible in the notebooks. Remember. So there are certain restrictions. So what you'll do today, that the pipeline, let the notebook run, you'll do 2 examples, security and notebooks. I'll mail you these notes. First example script, and this would be second example script. I'll say Synapse notebook script and a detailed document explaining every item. Just go through it carefully I'll send you all the information now. We'll stop for today. Can we have a friendly mock test tomorrow? What do you say? Please submit all your FAQs. Can we have a friendly mock test tomorrow, please?
Yes.
And whatever we are learning, all this stuff.
Yes, sir.
Because we have other things to learn on notebooks, data bricks, integrations. We need to do few more things like scheduling notebooks through pipelines. Another interesting thing we need to do. We learn pipelines. We learn notebooks. We need to integrate together. We can do, and we will do. But let me show you a small environment. How to do that? Let me show you. Small environment for easy understanding of the next exam. Go to integrate plus pipeline. Okay. Go to integrate plus pipeline. For next examples, it should be easier. Once you go to activities, okay, next, click on notebook. Synapse notebook. This one. You may have data flow, copy data activity, data flow activity for earlier things. Right? These are always there. Like previously we got something called lookup, stored procedure, copy data, and for each activity. You remember them? Activities. Yes.
Yes.
Here it is. Just assume a notebook. Go to settings. We created a notebook, right? Here it is. Select the notebook from which tool you want Apache Spark. Which notebook? The notebook one we created previous. Are we getting it now? I'll wait just to get some idea. Dependency.
Yes.
Yes. I'll wait. Our next example, the integration of notebook with pipeline is something. Just to get some hint on the next slide. And we need to have data lake integration with data factory and Synapse. So let's have a friendly mock test tomorrow. Before that, I request you to complete all the practice items and submit the FAQs. Please try to do that. Yes, sir. Email sent just now. Please check it and survey. Email sent just now with total of 5 attachments. Email sent just now. Please check it. It contains small Word document also explaining about the Synapse analytics with Spark environment. I request you to go through it carefully. Email already sent 30 seconds back. Might be on the way. Let's wait for a few minutes. Please try to answer the FAQs sent last class. I sent it for everyone. Received the mail, everyone. Please check it. I'll wait.
Yes, received them. Yes, sir, I got it. Received. Yes, sir, got email.
Please check it. I'll wait.
Yes, sir, I got the email. Sir, in dedicated SQL tool, aggregated table will be automatically created when you write it.
But we have to say save as, right? You remember that? Let me show you. save as, right? It's not auto created. Until here it is fine. This is aggregation. The aggregation result is given to a data frame, table variable. Data frame output is given to table. Save as table is there, right? Just like file save as. Here data frame save as table. This is. Next question, please. Got the mail, everyone? Please check it. I'll wait.
Yes. Sir.
Please, sir.
Yes, sir.
We'll stop for today then. Please make sure you come all the way. You don't want me to complete my statement. Continue with your question. Thank you, friends. Meeting tomorrow. Have a nice day. Thank you. Please back. Thank you so much, everyone. We have been attentive and answering my questions. Thank you so much. Leaving now. Thank you. You may leave now if you don't have any questions. Thank you. Abhadev, please continue your question. I'll stay back. Please start.
Okay, thank you. Actually, my question is like I was trying to compare the Spark pool in Databricks and the Synapse Analytics. How
You have to give me one more class time. One more class time. I'll show you. One more class time. Here. There is something called notebook. Databricks notebooks are there. Synapse notebooks are. We'll do the comparison. There is a. Both are different. Entirely different.
for example, with the Synapse Analytics, we mentioned about to see, for example, the Spark database, right?
Yes.
So the same, for example, this might be similar to the SQL Server in the license, right? Or
Yeah, I'm waiting for your remaining part of the statement.
the Databricks might be something like MySQL. I don't know. I'm just asking. That's why I'm asking. Internally,
You have to wait. You need to wait. Let me. You see, both of them. That's will do. Simple. Let me put this way. Databricks is having its own storage. DBMS, Databricks file system. To operate on Databricks, you got Databricks notebooks. In Synapse Analytics, we have a Synapse Spark database, right? Spark database that we created. So instead of DBFS, you got Spark database for storage. In Databricks file system storage, like Hadoop, in Synapse, it is like Spark database, similar to SQL database for storage. So Databricks follows Hadoop-like file storage. Synapse notebooks follow SQL database-like storage. But one common platform for communicating, like to take Oracle and SQL Server. There we say PLSQL. Here we say Tanfans. Same way, Databricks notebooks, Synapse notebooks. Both are different brands. You got it now? Got some idea?
yeah, the underlying storage technology is different, but on the developers, they give you similar kind of notebook you can use. Yeah, either by Spark or the Java, right? Scala.
Anyway, you got some basic idea now, right?
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, we'll go for clear information, step by step. Okay, we'll leave it.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, in fact, like we need to learn, we have to learn. We are going to learn how to integrate a Databricks notebook in data pack. We need to do that as well. We'll do it one by one. Do it.
Sir, I have a question.
Any more questions, please? I'll wait. Tell me, Priyanka, please tell me.
Sir,
for yesterday's incremental load, can we like execute one part of the lookup and then disable all the others and then run it? No.
Unlike SSIS, we don't have that option.
Okay.
No option like this because there is a dependence. We
So, like in my incremental load, one of the store procedure fails, but still it ran successfully for the second procedure. So can I like tell the pipeline to stop, doing the for each when the first block is not found or something?
the max error count is there, right? To go to the pipeline settings, there you got error count.
Oh,
There you can you got a pipeline setting is there, error count setting. It is there. Yeah. Okay.
sir, for in ADF we provide the table list, the value like the JSON at the beginning, right? And for Synapse we do it at the end when it says run pipeline, right?
Exactly. That's the only difference. Remaining all same. That's correct. Yes.
So,
And
so
I'm asking everyone to practice in both environments. You will find some difference. Yes, correct.
sir, so when we do that, like when we automate it, like how will we, who is going to provide that value, sir?
At the time of automation means triggering. While triggering, it asks you for the parameter values. You have to submit at the while creating the trigger. You have to
Oh,
just give a try, okay? Give a try creating a trigger. Just click on new trigger. It asks you for the parameters. Automatic. Just like running a SQL job, a procedure has to be scheduled. Then we have to include the parameter of the procedure inside the job. Something like that.
sure. Yes, sir. Sir, in the JSON, so if I add like another parameter to it, I have to add the parameter in the two cases. If I add it only in one of the case, it would not work, right?
Well, like at the time of creating the parameter is not really required. I just gave it default. It's optional. At the time of executing, triggering the pipeline is very much mandatory.
Sir, can we not use the same the user-defined data type for another table?
We can, provided the table structure is same.
Okay.
In our case, table structure is different. That's the reason we created two data types.
Sir, can you just open that notebook one?
Sir, can we like load, like if we have to take one file from the container and then load it to the database and then put it in another container saying that it's that particular data is loaded, and then we have to rename that file saying this is the date it was loaded.
Notebooks are the only option. Any type of customization, notebook. We have an example on how to deal with data lake in notebooks in Synapse Analytics. We have an example on that.
Sure. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Next class we are talking about SQL or something. Dedicated SQL pool in notebooks. Right? We have an example for a data lake with notebooks. We have an example for that.
Hello, sir.
We do data lake and then data lake with notebooks. We do one by one. We have examples for that.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
Hello, sir.
Thank you, friends. Thank you. Please. Thank
Hello.
you. Try to complete on the practice. Okay. Please.
Hello.
Please. Thank you so much.
Hello.
Thank you.